I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on the Spotlight Network, we're diving into a thrilling and hilarious journey that combines music, mystery, and imagination. Award-winning author Troy Burkman's The Clef Hanger follows Mikey Gross, an offbeat teen with a knack for adventure, as he battles sinister forces in a dream realm with his trusty oboe and a magical backpack. Packed with humor, danger, and unforgettable characters, this unique tale will captivate readers of all ages. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by buying his wonderful book and by subscribing to our TV channel, streaming on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV. Troy, great to see you here today on Spotlight. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Logan. Appreciate it.
It's a pleasure. This is truly an imaginative story. How did you come up with the idea to write The Clef Hanger?
I've always had a knack for the bizarre myself too. I love stories. Ever since I was in middle school, I guess, reading textbooks and reading stories that we had to do in English courses, I felt that there was something lacking sometimes. Some characters and settings and things that I wanted to see myself, stories that I wanted to read, things that I gravitated to. So I started reading, authors like Douglas Adams, Larry Niven, Jerry Pournelle, uh, you know, all the way up through, J.R.R. Tolkien. And I just felt that these stories were so cool that I kind of gravitate to those. So I started trying to write stories like that myself. Started out with small comic books and little drawings and stuff we'd pass along in class and stuff. And I guess I decided, let's do it for real. And I had a little time here on my hands, so I felt like I'd go ahead and write a novel. And so I've written something that I would like to read myself or see up on the big screen.
Absolutely. I think it would be great on the big screen. Since you brought that up, let me ask you, have you envisioned it as a film?
Yeah, I actually started writing it as a screenplay, I guess, at the beginning, and it just got too detailed to where I wanted to dive into the characters a little bit more, their journeys and their personalities, and you couldn't do that really on a film necessarily unless it was a film just about the one character. So in a book, you could kind of dive in a little deeper,
Mhm.
and so I felt like it was adding homage to them. I feel like they're real to me, right? So just to build a story around these crazy characters and their adventures, and then give them some justice and also give some educational context to it too by adding some cool vocabulary words for students to learn from.
Absolutely. And that's part of your book, is that you actually have a glossary of words there. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I decided it was hard for me when I was a middle school kid to read books like the Tolkien's, trilogy and
Mhm.
having to go look up words I didn't understand. And of course, we didn't have the internet at the time, right? So I was sitting there with a dictionary on one side and my book in the other, and I constantly have to go back and forth. And it helped a lot. But I felt now a lot of kids might want to take a book off to the park, or they might be on I don't know, a cruise or go somewhere else, and they don't have access to the internet. So I've included these nice vocabulary words in here that would be college level words that they can learn from in a zany adventure, but also just be able to flip to the back and be able to look those words up and understand what they mean without having to go get on your phone or get connected somehow to the internet.
Exactly. It's nice to stay unplugged and still have the information that you need at your fingertips. Talk to me a little bit about the dream realm that Mikey explores in the story.
Yeah, I thought it was kind of interesting that, when we dream, we can have different dreams that are wild. You could dream that you're flying, you could dream all sort of things. Well, what if this young man has an ability as he becomes of age to actually go into this dream world and it becomes real? And when he's there in this real world, things can happen there to him that can affect things. And it's like a different dimension, I guess. So what happens is he goes to sleep here and he wakes up over there. When he
Yeah.
sleeps there, he wakes up over here in the real world again. So you're going back and forth between the two realms in the story, but then an evil menace over there in this other world, this dream world, figures out how to try to get to our world using the dream world portal. And Mikey and his friends have to stop him from coming over here because, of course, the dream characters could probably, destroy our world. So
Mhm.
he wants to keep them over there. So he's decided to try and stay and fight and kind of prevent that world from coming over here and taking over our wonderful real world experience.
Wonderful. Cool. It's such a cool concept, such a cool battle that goes back and forth. Talk to us a little bit about the role that music plays in the adventure. It's pretty important for you to include it, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Music was big for me. I actually volunteer for Music for All. Actually, I get contracted now to do some things with them. I've always worked with high school bands. I've loved being in a high school band myself. I was in college band as well. I marched with the Cavaliers Drum and Bugle Corps. I'm taking all my music experience. I've tried to throw it in here too, a little education so they can learn about mouthpiece sizes, a little bit about what an embouchure is, how to play brass instruments versus reed instruments. It's kind of fun trivia throughout the book was kind of interspersed with that, but also the music plays a part because it sort of sets the tone for that chapter. So
Mhm.
Mikey has a cassette tape Walkman. It's kind of set in the 80s. If he plays a certain tune, let's say he's playing some Journey or something, it sort of sets the whole tone for that scene in that area. So I've actually had friends who've read the book and they feel like it's fun to go back and read it again with the music playing that's mentioned in the chapter because it really adds to it. And it made it more interactive, is what they told me. And I felt that was kind of cool because I actually wrote the book with listening to those music. So when I was writing the chapters, I would have that music on in the background and it helped write that chapter. So
Yeah.
it meant a lot to me. And I feel that it kind of just adds a little interactivity to it and a little more fun.
And you've got your soundtrack for your film as well, 80s music. I love it. I'm picking up a copy, that's for sure, right?
There you go. Yeah,
I
exactly.
miss making those mixtapes. If somebody made you a mixtape in the 80s, it meant they really cared about you. They took the time to go from like one cassette to another cassette and manually make a tape. It was a pretty cool thing. It was a pretty cool gift,
I
right?
totally agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree. Yes.
Talk to us a little bit about Mikey's quirky group of allies, like the mechanical snowman and the talking penguin.
Sure. So I felt there's always characters I drew from other movies and other genres that I really like the George Lucas I mentioned and stuff. That the Mechanical Snowman Glitch, he came about kind of like a BB-8 kind of thing, but he's a mechanical snowman. He can kind of control some weather elements around him, just in a vicinity, which is kind of fun. I've got a hacker girl named Layla, real smart with computers and things, and she kind of looks like a superhero almost. My friend said, looks like she belongs in a Fantastic Four. I said, well, I don't know about that, but it's kind of fun. He's got a talking penguin named Abercrombie. He's very strong, but he's got a Boston accent. He's a lot of fun. He's got a lot of humor to it too. So it's a lot of fun characters in the dream world that you'll run into in the story, which Mikey will rely on to help him, save the world.
Exactly. And those will be great merchandise also down the road. If this becomes a big film, you'll have the snowman and you'll have the penguin and you'll be all set.
There you go.
Talk to us a little bit about Mikey's relationship with his father and how it evolves throughout the story.
Yeah, so Mike is kind of an awkward kid. He's one of those, like you said, he picks up an oboe. He plays oboe in band. It's not the most glorious of instruments, not a trumpet player or a drum player. So he's kind of overshadowed. His dad becomes a band director for the school that he's at, and of course that kind of is sad because he kind of has to stay away from his dad a little bit because kids think he gets favoritism, just because he's not the best player in the world. So they stay apart. But when they get in the dream world, they really rely on each other a lot more, which is nice. So it becomes a real good, closer father-son bond. They see how important that is. His friends that also get pulled in from the band rely on Mr. Gross, his father, to help them through some things and situations as well. But yeah, it's a real closeness. I think they get closer than that, as we all do with traumatic things that happen to us
Yeah.
all, right? We can actually go through something a little closer and become more emotionally attached to somebody. And I think it shows the father-son kind of bonding thing and also how friends are real important in his life as well.
Yeah, those are big themes in the book, friendship
Yeah.
and teamwork. Why did you choose to explore those themes?
I felt that's a good well, when you get like an awkward kid that's like Mikey or anybody else who feels kind of out of sorts or not in place, they maybe not have the best talents in the world. Maybe they have different kinds of talents. We're all given different gifts. And I wanted to show that even if you have those different kind of gifts and you're maybe not the star football player or you're the, first chair person in the band, you could still contribute somehow and you should be yourself. And those talents can actually come to good in the book they do in the story. They kind of lend itself to more of an empathy and things that can actually help provide some things that you wouldn't normally see in like a hero character like Mikey, who's kind of an unsung hero. So I felt it was real important to have the story of friendship in there because with your friends, and even if you're kind of quirky or something, be yourself, be true to yourself. You'll make friends, and those will be true friends, and they'll help you through anything. And that's what I kind of show in this book is that your friends and your family and your own personality can help you get through all sorts of, things that might be harder to do if you didn't rely on your special talents that you've been given.
Exactly. It's a lot about resilience and
Yes.
redemption and coming back and rallying the forces, your allies, your friends, your family. Wonderful. Who's your target audience for this book?
I'd like to see middle school kids and high school to read it, but I've actually heard some sixth grade teachers who really liked the book a lot, and they said, "Oh, this is fantastic for even my fifth graders." They said it'd be fantastic because it's got a nice a kind of a middle school grammar, I guess, in it, but it's got a more of a college level vocabulary. So I don't want to scare anybody, but it does lend itself to that kind of age group. But I know a lot of adults who've read it who've said they had to look in the back of the book for some of those words I put in there as well. So we can all learn good vocabulary, right? So
Yep.
it's a fun story for anybody in all ages, I think.
I agree. It's an imaginative story. It's quite a romp. I think anybody would enjoy it. Are you thinking about a sequel?
Yes, I'm working on the Shadow Symphony. It's a sequel to the book. It's got some of the same characters, not all of them, but it's got some of the same characters and some same things. But you'll find out some things at the end of the book where some things lead, and I think this book is a perfect jumping point to that area with his team and his fun characters.
Wonderful. How can readers find out more about Clef Hanger and how can they connect with you? Do you have a website or anything like that?
I
Or
do. Yeah, you could go right to the clefhanger.com. It's
Mhm.
TheClefhanger. Cliffhanger
Wonderful.
or ER. Yeah, actually ER Hanger. So yeah, you can go to that and you can find out more about it. Or you could just search for the Clef Hanger on Amazon if you'd like.
Exactly. And we'll have, of course, the links below this interview. And it's a great book, folks. You will love it. It's just an enjoyable romp, like I said, an incredible adventure. And the whole dream realm element makes it unique, makes it imaginative, and makes it a story that you won't forget. The name of the book is The Clef Hanger. It follows Mikey Gross, who is an offbeat teen with a knack for adventure as he battles sinister forces in a dream realm with his trusty oboe and a magical backpack. It is packed with humor, danger, and unforgettable characters. This unique tale will captivate readers of all ages. It is highly recommended by the Spotlight Network. Troy, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Thank you, Logan, for having me. I appreciate it.
I
Thank you.
appreciate your time, sir, your wit, your wisdom, and your insight. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.